Hi everyone, and welcome back to Find My Field, where we explore different careers and help students discover future opportunities and pathways. Today, we're joined by Dr. Zeina Ghossoub, an executive coach, leadership, and wellness expert. With a deep passion for human behavior and personal development, Dr. Zeina helps individuals and leaders unlock their potential and create meaningful change in their lives and their careers. In this conversation, we'll explore coaching, leadership, personal growth, and the skills that help people thrive in today's world. Dr. Zena, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me, Nai. Thank you.
Of course, it's a pleasure. So let's start from the beginning. Can you walk us through your journey and how exactly did you transition from dietetics, bioscience, and biotechnology and nutrition to coaching, leadership, and human development?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. I've always wanted to know. I always knew in my life that I wanted to be somebody that serves, always.
Okay.
But I actually bumped with a teacher way back in high school where the nutrition wasn't known at the time. And I told her I want to help people heal with food. And she said, well, guess what? There is a major that does that. And that was way back before dietitians were even known in Lebanon specifically. And this is how the journey started. And so I started with that, and I did a master's in that. And along the path, I felt that being a dietitian was not serving a lot because of when you're a dietitian then and there. Now it's different. It was about you giving prescription through diets, and then with these diets you help an individual with diabetes, with whatever they have, any form of disease. Diabetes is when you have very high blood sugar, to help them get into better shape. But what I saw with my patients is that they are doing the plan for a certain period of time, and then they're reverting back to their old habits after a certain period of time, like a year or 6 months. And the success rate was very low in terms of how they are changing. So, and it was very repetitive. And the struggle with weight loss, even till now, it's a very big struggle with many, many, many human beings.
Yeah.
So I started thinking when I started my PhD in bioscience, biotechnology, how can I support that? And I actually dove more into counseling and understanding the human brain. And this is basically my first thesis was on really understanding the connection between body and brain. And thereon after, I just went into coaching because I wanted to understand more human behavior, but I have no psychology background at all. So I did the coaching, I became a coach, and then I said, okay, I need to understand more. So I actually went into human development, human behavior, and counseling as a PhD, as a second PhD. And along the path, I was teaching at the university level, I was coaching, I was in leadership positions. I really understood that when you are a coach, when you own your problem as a client, then you have the ability to solve it. And this is really what coaching does.
Okay.
And this is basically the path.
This is very interesting because you have like your job crosses so many different intersections, so it's quite interesting. Now, if you had to clear things up a little bit, if you had to explain your job to a 16-year-old, what do you do on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, I interact with human beings, whether organizations, whether teams, whether individuals, whether leaders, whether C suites, whether mere individuals that want to grow in their lives. And growth is perspective, and success is perspective. It's from their own perspective, what is success and how to achieve goals. And I help them try to reach that from a wellness perspective, from a connection between their heart, gut, and brain, and as an organization, as a team, as leaders, or as individuals. This is exactly what I do for everyone. But my baseline is always physiology before psychology. I really focus in the way I work on you being well physically, because this is very important. From when you are young till when you grow older, and now I am diving more into the longevity world and healing people even more, because there's even more research. So this is what I would explain.
Okay, now let's dive into the more technical side of things. You mentioned earlier that when you used to do or to work in dietitian, you used to help people mainly with diabetes or health issues and prescribe things to them. So, in the job that you do today, right now, with all these different paths that sort of meet in one intersection, who do you usually help? What does your client base look like, and what kind of challenges do they come to you with?
So my client base could range, because I have 7 organizations that I lead now. And these organizations are filled with dietitians, physical therapists, physicians, physical trainers, coaches, and trainers. So each organization, so I have teams, okay? So, and in every team, there are different challenges, and we deal with different populations. So we deal with all age groups, with all genders, across wellness, across teams, across organizations. So if you want to ask Zaina per se, individually, what do I do? Is first of all, I support in leading these organizations by helping my team members in flourishing. Second, I take on very C-suite leaders that I work with, and I help them grow themselves on a one-to-one basis or on at an organizational level. So it's both my teams and the people. So there is no specific age group, because I deal with all age groups. But if you are in a C-suite age group, it's more in your 40s and 50s now. And I do a lot of work with women leaders across the world,
Okay,
globally.
that makes a lot of sense. Now, you mentioned that you help people grow in their lives, and you help them find the things that just help them flourish. So, how does your work impact people's lives in a real and visible way? What exactly do you mean when you say you help them grow? Grow into what? How does that look like from the outside?
I love the question. It depends on the person. So if you're coming to me with, for example, executive issues like decision making skills, like impulse control, like more emotional expression at work, that will be our end goal. And we work on that. And I use a lot of assessment tools to do that. Very up to date assessment tools and scientifically proven to do that. So the individuals of the organization or the leaders will go through these assessments. We see where they are, and we help them identify where their strengths are and where they need to have their upgrades in, with respect to the institute, with respect to themselves. So, and this is how we work with it. And we do it either through coaching or training and coaching, which is the best model. The best model is actually helping people through learning about, for example, emotional self awareness, and then go with them in their emotional self-awareness on a one-to-one basis to see where they are going to arrive and how will they acknowledge that, and then retest. So we do pre-testing and post-testing and see where they are. So that for you is like a very brief way of doing it. Same thing with wellness. We do a blood test, we do genetic testings also from a wellness perspective to understand what your genes are and how they are shifting epigenetically, to see how the environment and stress and all of this is affecting you and how can we support you. So it depends on what kind of growth they want. So I am saying that we have the tools and I have the tools to be able to do all of that. And this is how I do it through my teams and individually. So this is the growth that I'm talking about.
Right, that's very insightful. Now, when you were talking about training and coaching versus just coaching, what exactly is the difference? Like, do you obviously you want to go more in
Absolutely.
depth,
Yeah.
but what is the, can you explain a
Yeah.
little bit more?
Training is teaching a skill. It's teaching a new skill. For example, teaching somebody how to take a decision, teaching and actually let them train in it while you are doing a workshop. Like it takes over a period of time. But the retention of the information when you do training is minimal as compared when you actually do the change. So you actually do the change when you are being coached. When you take small steps every single time you sit down with your coach over a period of at least 3 months or a period of 6 months, where you actually take small steps in maximizing your decision making skills moving forward. And with these action steps, you will know that, okay, I was at let's say, a 6, now I am at an 8 because I'm able to do A, B, and C. So coaching is more one-on-one. It could be in a group setting also. Training is learning a new skill.
Okay, interesting. Now, let's sort of shift the focus a little bit more to the professional side, so your side of the job. When you first started working, what would you say surprised you the most about this field?
Um, since I come from a dietetics background, I was so enamored by the accuracy and how change is anchored when you are coached. So, what surprised me is that actually we can change ourselves at a cellular level. We can, we have that ability to change, and that is very fascinating for my brain. That we are in control of so many things, but as human beings, we think we are not. Science before used to say if your genetics are like this, you cannot do anything about it. It has shifted totally at this level. So, all of this from genetics to epigenetics, from just being in therapy to being really coached and being rewired. I mean, like literally changing your behavior and being more in a wellness state, that is what really surprised me, that we can do that. And I'm still surprised actually every single day. I just came from a conference on wellness and longevity for 3 full days, and I'm so amazed, and I cannot wait to give back to my clients, to my team, to my patients, all of this new information. Is like, how can you control? We are able to control all of this, and that is amazing for me.
That does sound very nice. Now, what would you say is the most challenging aspect of your work, especially when dealing with people? So, as you were talking about the how interesting the scientific part is, you have a really big social part and human interaction part, what would you say is the most difficult part of that job?
I think the most difficult part is not dealing with people, for me at least. The most difficult job is the entrepreneurial part of the job. When you're an entrepreneur, and I am one, uh, it is very difficult to help individuals understand what you are seeing ahead of time, your vision. And
Yeah.
if you are working on a one-to-one level, or even if you are working very big projects, that is one aspect. With respect to people and the challenges with people, as coaches and as people in the human behavior business, we get to, and I've been a coach for more than 21 years, and I've been in human development for more than 30 years. You start understanding that there are two types of people. One type is with a growth mindset, and the other with a fixed mindset. And so you stop arguing with the people that have a fixed mindset. You just don't go there in the discussion, and you spare yourself. But you will engage more with the people with growth mindset, and you will that will ease the challenge if you want. So whatever they are, and in whatever capacity, be it a client, an investor, and anyone, a leader. So you will. This is the challenges becomes easier this way.
All right. And so you highlight the difference in personality traits of your clients. Now, what about the professionals like yourself? What would you say is the type of personality that fits this career best?
Okay, so my scientific brain will tell you to go do a test, a genetic test that can support you. There is now a new genetic test that can tell you from 54 behaviors if you are more of a socializer or a visioner, or if you are more an accomplisher or a person that analyzes more. So that in itself can support you, other than the regular career testings that we do. Like, there's a lot of career testings that we do. The strong, we do EQI. There's a lot that we do out there.
Okay.
The For the professionals, I think the only thing, I wouldn't say it's about assessments only. It would say about if they have done the work in their own life as people that are growing and continuing to grow, that they can be in this business or being in this human development journey. But if you're not willing to invest this much in your learning and your growth, real growth, like being exposed to failure, being exposed to sarcasm, being exposed to a lot of criticism, it's not the place to be in. Because it is, if we're talking about the real coaches, because there are real coaches and there are non-real coaches. There are two types of coaches.
Okay.
And and the real ones are not only the credentialed ones. The real coaches are the people that actually talk and walk the talk. They are really the people that empower others. They are really the people that support others, are empathetic, that are there with a listening ear, that all of that. So if you're not able to grow yourself as such, then you are not supposed to be in this industry.
Okay. Interesting. And so obviously there's a really big importance to the human connection and the human part of this job. Now, with AI and technology growing so fast, sometimes the social and humanitarian part can clash with that new technological evolution. So, do you think human-centered roles like coaching will become more important, or do you think that eventually they will become eradicated?
That goes back, and that's a really beautiful question. And I'm always asked this question nowadays, like, so this AI, by my students and by a lot of people. First of all, AI is not going to replace the coach. It's going to replace the coach that doesn't use AI. Um, let me rephrase that. So, AI will replace the coach that will not use AI in their development.
Right.
Okay? And what I mean is the following. When the major part of being a good coach is, as I told you earlier, is walking the talk and being present and being empathetic and all of that. And these are skills that you learn over years. You don't learn them from just taking one course, especially if you are at a master level. Will AI take the junior level coaches? Yes, eventually they are going to. And they are actually now in the research, the recent researches from ICF and from EMCC. ICF is the International Coach Federation, and the European Union also for coaching. They have found that an AI coach will take the place of a junior level coach, which is an ACC level coach.
Really?
Because, yes, and that is going to happen by the end of the year. AI is developing consciousness at this level. So we can see a lot of bots that are able to do so, and the way and how they are doing so, you can see it. And however, AI will never replace a human, real coach if you are a coach that is really connected by visual, by non-verbal cues, by everything that I said earlier in terms of empathy and presence and all of this, because there's an energy that flows between you as a coach and your client, even across Zoom, and that is unspoken energy.
Yeah.
And that is a connection with your limbic system, from limbic system in the middle brain to a limbic system in your middle brain. And there's a current that is created there. And when this happens, really, it will create a very big connection. And this is why change and shift happens with the client. And this is why they take neurotransmitters shift in their body. A lot of things happen in their body that will shift. So this is why it's not gonna ever replace it. But you have to be at that level. You're gonna be needing to be at that level, and you need to know how to work with AI as a coach, because it is up to speed. If you are not able to actually work with AI and be up to speed with it, also, you are going to be behind. So it's a fine line. I don't know if you got me, but
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the fine.
No, that's very clear. Yeah, that's a fair point. Now, to finally end it off, for all and any students that are aspiring to go into coaching and leadership and human development, what advice would you give to them?
First of all, I think they need to shadow a leader. They need to shadow a person in for a couple of weeks and be there with somebody that is really entrenched in the work. Learn as much as they can about it, and actually get coached themselves. It is very important to understand the process of what is happening, like playfully as a coachee and as a client. Because as coaches, we say that we are always coached and we are always mentored and supervised to be able to continue. So, being coached yourself, you will understand if this is something you would like to do or not.
All right, that's very insightful. Well, thank you, Dr. Zaina, for being with us today and sharing your experience with us. It's truly been insightful, and I genuinely think we've learned a lot about this interview and how to grow, how to become better and how to find ourselves later on. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Nai, for having me, and good luck to you.
Thank you. All right.